Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to paint a soft, colorful sky, mainly clouds. We're going to start with wetting our paper. I usually do at least 2 passes of water and let it soak into the paper. Take your time with this step. We want to prep the paper, which is important for those soft blends and to avoid hard edges in our clouds, because that's what we're going for. Remember, no puddles. You can use whatever brush you want for this, but you might want a big one, so that way it doesn't take forever. Here I am just scooping up the excess water. And make sure you clean your edges so you don't have any run back. Alright, I think the paper looks good. We're going to start with a cerulean blue. This has a touch of yellow to it. Use your big brush so you can paint loosely. Not too much water in the brush right now. It's mainly moist, and we picked up the watery mixture of blue and just kind of dab it in various places, very loosely, very gently. Concentrate a lot of colors on the upper top corners of your sky. Dabbing off out of that water right now because you don't want too much water in your brush. Water control is pretty important right here. We don't want to add too much water onto the paper itself. Now it's time to add the yellow. Now where you place the yellow is important. Try not to touch the blue too much, although our blue right now is very light, so I'm not too worried. But kind of avoid the blue, work around the blue because you don't want it to turn green. So just drop in the yellow here and there. See that my brush is not drenched in water, it's moist, and I'm picking up that yellow that is quite diluted. So tap in some of that yellow here and there very gently, and now we're picking up that brown. So clean off a lot of the excess color so you can have more water control. Dab in that brown in various places and kind of concentrate it as sort of the bottom portion of the clouds. You want to kind of pick up your brush here and there, skip around so you're not covering up a large space with color. We want to leave a lot of white space for luminosity, for transparency, because we want light to kind of shine through our clouds, and that is demonstrated through, white space. Again, that brown is very diluted as well, so none of the colors I'm using are very highly pigmented at all. So I'm using a wet wad piece of paper, towel, dabbing up and picking up colors here and there to let light through, to let some of that white paper underneath come through. At this point, my paper is still wet, so I'm able to do this. And be gentle with your dabbing. You don't want to pick up all of the water or the moisture, because if you leave some moisture on your paper, you're able to drop in colors here and there wherever you want. So if you picked up too much, you can drop in more of that brown or more of that yellow, or if you want to add some of the cerulean blue back in, you can still do that because your paper is still moist. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here. It's just looking at my clouds as a whole, seeing where I want to adjust and where I want to add more colors. So let's see, I think I'm adding more brown here just to kind of bring up the contrast, kind of exaggerate the contrast a little bit. Remember to leave a lot of white space. And you don't want to drop in too much water at this point. You want your brush to be moist, not drenched in water. And using a smaller brush can help too because it carries less water. So I'm spraying it now just to soften everything up and letting it kind of blend together and roll around to soften up. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to work on the foreground. So for the foreground, I'm mixing together a yellowish green color. I'm using mostly olive green and some of the yellow that we have, dropping it in wet on wet to the foreground and blending it up towards the cloud for a smooth and soft transition to the cloud. Dropping in a little bit more yellow here and there. And right now, like I said, we're doing wet on wet, so everything should blend together and be really soft. Now I'm using mostly undersea green, concentrating it towards the bottom and corners of the foreground. There's really no rhyme or reason here, just make sure that the bottom and corners are darker, and as you go towards the cloud, it's a bit more yellow and softer. Alright, I'm just going to speed this along, but keep working on yours as long as your paper is still wet or moist. You don't want to overwork it, so once you're happy with yours, then step away. Alright, so I'm happy with my foreground. I see that I have a lot of moisture up there in the corners, just moving it around and then dabbing it up with a dry piece of paper towel so that it doesn't create hard edges. And make sure you keep the edges clean so you don't get any runbacks. And just dabbing here and there to again kind of accentuate the airiness and the luminosity of the clouds. You may not have to do this step, yours may not need this step, and that's okay. Just assess yours and see what you need. And I think we are done. Let's dry it. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I hope you give this a try, and if you have any questions, leave a comment and feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for being here and for watching this. Happy painting. Bye.